Hey guys, Aaron Kurtz here, giving you content if you're stuck in OCD and anxiety. We're talking about fear, okay? And we're gonna get to the one aspect around fear that holds it together that we can let go of, and we're gonna get to that. First off, fear is the emotional state you are in when you are experiencing anxiety. All the OCD, right? All the intrusive thoughts? What do they do inside you? Make you feel afraid, right? Obsessive thinking, rumination. I want to impress upon you the point that fear and this manifestation of anxiety, OCD, blah, 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 we just talked about, is learned behavior. You're not born with this. It's easy to get into the mindset that this is just fate. This is a disease that I just inherited because of my genetics. This is just the way I am. That's bullshit. Okay? If you want to stay stuck where you're at, you can think that way, but it's not really the truth because many people like myself have transformed out of this. Okay? So, you want to look at the manifestations in your mind being related to sensory input, sort of how a machine or a mechanism works, where there's input coming in and there's an output that expresses itself. There's sensory input coming in, which is the beliefs you develop from childhood on, and then it develops anxiety and whatnot. And there's the motor output, right? That's the emotions, the thoughts, what's the expression, the symptoms, the things that's happening. Okay, we tend to get fixated on the output, the symptoms, thoughts, emotions, but there's an input that happened at one time maybe we're not aware of. We're going to talk about that, but that's what's causing it. We can undo that. We can correct this. Okay, so this is a survival trauma response. It's like when I was on the interstate and I got rammed by a truck going full speed and it crushed my car. For me now driving on the interstate, I do feel I've developed this anxiety of cars being behind me, and I've noticed this. This is something I work through. Our brains have this survival response to trauma, and this is what we're talking about. This is how this develops. Emotional wounds is a trauma, okay? They lead to fearful beliefs about ourselves, and mostly with anxiety and OCD, these are beliefs about ourselves, fearful beliefs about us, okay? And that's what I'm primarily talking about. This leads to anxious behaviors and then avoidance and all these other strategies, right? To avoid that wound, that pain. But I want to also impress upon you that this is something that happened to you, okay? You were an innocent child, and when these whatever I'm not going to get into all this, the emotional neglect, all these different beliefs and patterns we learned, okay, that developed this. This happened to you as an innocent child. We took on these beliefs about, you should be this, you should be that. Emotions of anger, sadness are not safe to express, blah, blah, blah. You're not enough. The fear of being wrong, fear of sex, all these moral fears, right? It's all fantasy, it's all bullshit. It all lives in our mind, okay? And we don't need, contrary to what you may have been raised or even society wants us to think, you don't need guilt to live a healthy, fulfilling life. We've been sold a lie. You don't need guilt to get what you want, to have a good life. And part of that is understanding the life you do want. Um, but we tend to think that, man, if I'm left to my own desires, I'm going to be so evil and so dangerous and so disgusting and just so horrible. And that is the belief around guilt. Everything you are afraid of becoming, if you let go of fear and let go of this thing, everything you are afraid of becoming is because of your self-judgments. And this is the thing. The key element that holds fear together, fears of ourself together, that's self-judgment. Okay? This is what is fucking you up. Learn to let it go. Inside, you are innocent. You're an innocent child, an innocent soul that has been taught that you are not so. Okay? And you need this, you need that, you need whatever to be okay, to be enough. This is what you want to rebel against. This is critical to my journey to understanding these basic lies. We're not even talking about like everything I've talked about so far is not even about like OCD, intrusive thoughts, right? Or all these OCD themes, right? No, because we're going down to a base level here, the base level of anxiety that exists in OCD. This is what you want to rebel against. This is creating all of your fears. How you view yourself, beliefs you have about yourself. I used to be burdened by so many fears about myself. Like I had to be so a certain way. Not only my personal conduct and behavior, also how I related to other people, having to be overly nice and overly kind to every person. Everyone must like me. No one can be in contention or dislike me. And wow. So on the outside, I looked overly nice and disciplined. And on the inside, I was very inauthentic, very dishonest, and really self-hating, right? And so that's what fear does. Fear leads to obsessive thinking, to rumination, to living in the mind, overly developing. I've talked about self-one before. Over-reliance on self-one, the conscious ego mind to be good enough, to fight all these fears and all these imagined fears going on. So the question I want to ask you is, what are you missing in your life? If you can absorb this and understand this in your own life, specifically to you, and understand what are you missing, because of what is fear robbing you of in your life? All these things that are really always labeled, it's all bullshit, but it's robbing you of so many things in your life that you maybe missed out on. Depending how old you are in life, how far you've been on this journey, it's robbed you of a lot. But you can change that. You can change that. You can make the most of whatever you have left in this life. But what this brings up naturally is desire, right? And this is the map of consciousness, the level of emotions going from fear, desire to anger. And when you let go of fear and you move into what I want in life, what I've missed out of life, what has been pulled from me, you go after it. That's desire, right? And it naturally brings up this healthy energy we call anger that drives you to action, to correct the injustices in your life, to go after what you want and need in your life. Okay, and that's a separate video, but understanding fear appropriately and how it's this game essentially that this fearful belief lives in your system, is creating and driving you to do. Okay, automatically driving you to be a certain way, to think a certain way, all because it's just trying to survive. What's trying to survive? Well, just this idea of yourself. Just this idea of you being limited, small, not enough. So what happens if you let that die? And you can birth something else that is actually your true, natural, free state of being. Hope this helps somebody. Ask any questions. Hope this makes sense. If nothing makes sense, ask a question. I'll try to clear it up. And we'll do more videos on the next levels going up to desire and anger. Thanks for watching.